Hi there. Welcome to or welcome back to Tiff Books, or books and I talk to you about them. I thought with it being the week before Christmas, we could do something a little bit fun and finish an audiobook. I have finished 4 stories in the short story collection Christmas and Other Horrors. I have finished The Importance of a Tidy Home by Christopher Golden. That was like a 3.5. The Ones He Takes, which was like a 3, it was fine. The Ones He Takes was by Benjamin Percy. His Castle was by Alma Katsu. I actually really liked that one. I think that was a solid 4. And Mock and Field by Terry Dowling, I really did not like. I'm going to give that one a 2. And I'm currently listening to The Blessing of the Waters by Nick Mamatas. So I'll get into a little bit later what each of these stories was about. I'm going to get about 50% through, and then I'll give you a rundown of a brief overview of each of the stories. But for now, I just thought I would do a little introduction, and I'm going to be doing some painting and some cleaning, and I'll check in with you as I finish the stories. So we're going to finish this today. Genuine question. Will I ever remember that adding whipped cream raises the volume of liquid in my mug of hot chocolate? Probably not. Hi, it's many hours later since I first checked in with you. I am showered, ready for bed. I've done errands and the dog's dinner, and I have not checked in with you, and I have 3 hours left in this book. I had to take a long break from it because I wanted to edit a video and get it up today. I'm probably gonna have to finish this in the morning. I really wanted to finish it today, but I think we're gonna have to probably finish the last hour of the book in the morning, unfortunately. So I really wanted this to be a finish a book in a day with me, but it's just not gonna happen. So I have some things that I'm going to do. I have some painting I want to do while I listen to this, but I thought I would check in and tell you what's happened in the story so far. I'm 50% in, according to Libby, and I've got a good grasp kind of on how this book is set up now at this point. So basically each story takes place somewhere else with a different culture. Obviously we're going to eventually have some overlap, I think, but as of right now, it's got a big variety. I've listened to a lot of authors that I haven't read from before, and I'm enjoying it, but nothing has been like, oh my god, this is so good. And I think that's kind of par for me with short stories, unfortunately. There's been very few that have been like, oh my god, this is amazing. So hopefully we get one of those in here, but I have not yet. So this book is done, the audio is done with 2 narrators, a man and a woman, and essentially if a man wrote it, a woman narrated it, or if a man wrote it, a man narrated it, regardless of who the characters are. And if a woman wrote it, a woman narrates it, regardless of who the characters are. There are way more men that have written stories for this than there are women, so there's much more male narrators. I really think that they should have had it based on the characters, because there's been a lot of stories from a woman's perspective that a man has written. And I'm like, we could have just had the woman narrate it instead of having this man do artificial women's voices. But anyway, okay, so the first one I kind of liked the first one. The Importance of a Tidy Home by Christopher Golden. This, I can't remember where it's set, but it's Germanic of some sort, I believe. So this is it might be Germany, I don't remember. This is we're following a man who has seen some shit, and it caused him to end up with, it kind of sent him spiraling into a drug addiction, and then he was sent to prison, and then he lost his job, and now he is unhoused. And on one Christmas Eve, he and his buddy end up seeing these creatures, the same things that he saw, that sent him spiraling, and he's seen them every year, but now this year this guy also sees them, and they end up following this creature, which will essentially kill you if you leave your house dirty on Christmas Eve, and they end up witnessing a murder, and everything kind of spirals from there. Okay, so then the second story is set in the US. I don't remember exactly where, but this is The Ones He Takes by Benjamin Percy. This is essentially, I didn't really like this one very much. It's this young couple who's lost their son, and he disappeared on Christmas Eve by something who may or may not have come down the chimney. It felt very rushed. I think it was one of the really short ones, and it just felt really rushed. And then His Castle by Alma Katsu. This one I really liked. This is the Mari Lloyd, and it's set in Wales, and I I don't know the accuracy of the tradition, but essentially this is it had these men who were carrying around a hobby horse, but actually had like a horse skull on it. And they go from door to door, and they do like a thing, and they get drinks and sweets, and then they go on their way to the next place, basically. But these men had a sinister intention, and the people in the house, who were a holidaying couple from London, may or may not have also had sinister intentions. But this had a lot to say about capitalism and the housing market and the economy and like all of this stuff like twisted into it. And I was like, wow, that's how you do a short story. Like, it was one of the longer ones, but I still think it was pretty good. So it didn't wow me, but it was definitely like a high 4, I think. Like, that was a really good one. Mock and Field, I did not like. This one was set in the Southern Hemisphere somewhere, and I didn't pick up on that until the end because they were making a lot of British references, and I was very confused when they were like, the Southern Hemisphere, it's summer, and I was like, wait a minute. Like, I was so confused. But beyond that, it's like a scarecrow story, and a man has gone missing, and we have some sort of exchange of like life force. But we have a woman in here who is mentally disabled, and she's viewed as like kind of weird and not right, and like slow and childlike, and I, along with the voice acting choices for it, I was a little uncomfortable with what we were doing with it. He said this is Terry Dowling is the author. He said in his like little blurb at the end that he wanted to do something different with the scarecrow trope and didn't want to use the same trope. But then I felt like he leaned into the trope of people who are neurodivergent, and I didn't really enjoy that very much. So it was just weird, and I wasn't a fan. The Blessing of the Waters by Nick Mamatas. This one was Greek. Had some like Greek traditions and Long Island Catholics, and I kind of enjoyed it. It was mobsters and unexpected and eldritch horrors at the same time as like a noir betrayal, and it was very good. That's all I'm gonna say about it. I actually did really like this one. I think I wished it would have been longer, and like that's like, I don't hold that against it. Like, I just wanted more of the story, so that was a really good one. And then we had Dry and Ready, which I liked in the beginning and then thought the end just kind of fizzled. This one is actually set up here in Washington, up in Bellingham. It's about this trio of women. This is by Glenn Hirschberg. Yeah, Hirschberg. This is about a trio of women, and it's set on the first night of Hanukkah. And these women, as like their ritual, they go around the garden of these sculptures that the grandfather of the youngest, the husband of the oldest woman in the trio, designed, and after his death he asked them to feed the statues, and so they go and they give these like little slips of paper as like a with a prayer on them, and it didn't build the tension very well. I think I really wanted more tension out of it, and it didn't deliver. I think it was a nice story, but it just didn't deliver in the end. And then Last Drinks at Bondi Beach by Garth Nix. I didn't like this one. This is the second short story I've read by Garth Nix, and I've not liked either of them. And it was using old gods, like pagan gods, and like blood drinking, and it was very short, and it was written in a weird format that maybe would have been better read than listened to, but it just didn't do it for me. The twist happened too quick and easily, and it was too obvious, I think. Turn to Bear Creek Lodge by Tanana Reeve Dew. I really liked this one. This was my first Tanana Reeve Dew. I really liked this story. It was one of the longer ones. This apparently builds on another story she wrote for a different collection, which I think is really cool, and she said she maybe is building it up to a full novel, and I was like, ooh, that's cool. So this is following a 14-year-old boy who goes to his grandmother's lodge that she owns, and his grandmother is dying of cancer, and there is maybe something sinister happening, and it was generational trauma, and set in the snow with like a fox spirit thing, and it was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. The Ghost of Christmas is Past by Richard Kadri. This was okay. Again, a standard twist for horror short stories. Obvious if you listen to it, it's the I'm not crazy, I was just the villain all along. Like it. A woman lost her brother around Christmas time, and so we go through a series of like Christmas horrors, like Christmas monsters, from like Krampus to like all the other ones. It just felt like a laundry list rather than like a short story. And then the Stephen Graham Jones one, Our Recent Unpleasantness. I really liked this one. This was set on the winter solstice, and this was the most unreliable narrator so far. Even the one who was like, I was the villain all along, this one was more unreliable. You really had no idea of what was true and what wasn't, of what was in his imagination and what was outside of it. And I think nobody does that like Stephen Graham Jones does. I loved it. Follows a man who, over the series of multiple winter solstices, his life is falling apart and he can't quite figure out what's happening around him and what's real and what's not. And yes, I really enjoyed it. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen, and I'm going to set up stuff to work on some Pokemon paintings. So these are the ones I've done so far. I've done a little Charmeleon and a Charizard, and this one's my preferred one, and a Dratini. So I've got 2 of each of these, and they're going to be like a memory game. They're not identical because I'm really bad at drawing identical. It's close enough. So there'll be 2 of each, and I've got left, these sketches are not great. It's a trust the process. So I've got Dragonite and a little Rowlet and a Charmander and a Mew and a chubby Pikachu. So I've got to finish these by Christmas Eve for the gift, and then I have to paint the Pokeballs on the back still too, so that's going to be fun. So I'm going to set up to do this and listen to the book while I work on it. That's my plan. Okay, I think my phone has charged enough that I can record the next little bit that I'm going to do with these. I'm working on finishing. This is going very slow, but we have some color. My friends were messaging me, so I kept pausing the audio to reply so that I wouldn't get distracted, and I got into discussion about Good Omens with one friend, and so I had to pause it to deal with that. And then I got in a discussion with another friend about the First Law trilogy because she asked me, she was like, oh, I saw this book recommendation on Instagram, A Little Hatred, and it sounds really good, and I wanted to know if you knew anything about it. And I was like, you can't read it. She's like, what the fuck? And I was like, you can't read it because you have to read the First Law trilogy first, because if you ever want to read the First Law trilogy, there'll be a ton of spoilers because it's all a continuation in the same world. So, and I looked it up to double check because I haven't got that far yet. So, yes, we had to have that discussion. She's also reading the ACOTAR series, and she's on the last book, so she was telling me her opinions on it. I've not read them, I don't plan on reading them, but because of FOMO, I have watched full breakdowns from Carrie Can Read on the plot, where she does like the murder board and everything. Very good. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. But anyway, so I just finished 2 stories, and it's been an hour and 40 minutes since I talked to you last, so I've got, we're not getting very far tonight. But I finished All the Pretty People by Nadia Bulkin. I kind of liked this one. This is a Festivus story, and this follows a group of friends who are celebrating Festivus for the rest of us, and basically just cynical post-college graduates, and a dysfunctional friend group, and kind of dark and pretty good. Not super satisfying, but satisfying enough. And then the Loyli Sona, I'm saying that very wrong, Josh Mallerman. This one is set in Finland, and it is a man who is going to visit his girlfriend's family in Finland, and he's going to do a sauna. They're basically doing polar bear leaps, basically in the sauna. then into the lake, and it's sauna, then the lake on the longest night of the year. So it's another solstice one. Has some Finnish folklore in it. It does that trope thing that I don't really like, where it's men being like overly protective of their daughters, and I don't like that trope. I don't think Josh Mallerman is the author for me. I really hated The House at the Bottom of the Lake. I really hated it. I think he does some weird things with his female characters. So yeah, I'm about to start Cold by Cassandra Kah, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stories left. So I'm gonna keep working on Dragonite. He's getting cute. I've got to fill in a little bit of the tan bits, which are wood colored, so they're just gonna get more wood colored. And then I'm gonna do a clear coat, and while that dries, I'll start doing the next one, because I found out my Posca pens, which is what I use to line them, will get absorbed into the wood, and they like bleed out along the grain lines, and it looks terrible. So I have to seal them first and then draw on top of the seal. Progress has been made in the book and in the paintings. So I finished, let me look at the names. Finished Cold by Cassandra Kah, and that one I absolutely love. It was like by far one of my favorites. It's apocalyptic, which the only other book I've read by Cassandra Kah is pretty close to apocalyptic. I have read Assault Grows Heavy, and I liked that one a lot. I really liked this one too. So it's apocalyptic, and there's like a woman who ends up befriending a saint, and it has to do with the long sleep that there's lots of different ways to pronounce it. Breed, or probably Brigid, as well, and became Saint Bridget, I believe. Has to do with waking up on Imbolc and start of spring and going to sleep through the winter. That one I think has probably been my favorite so far. It was just, I don't know, it had the vibes of like the Six Deaths of the Saint, kind of, not really like a lot, but it made me feel like kind of the same way. So definitely my favorite. And then I just finished Grave of Small Birds by Karen Warren. I liked this one too, but I also disliked part of it. The woman in it, the main character, was just so awful, and I think she was supposed to be like that was the point, but it's basically it's a solstice and Christmas one. Just kind of interesting. So set on a small island, following a woman who just thought she was supposed to win a culinary competition, and now she's like on this island that tourists come to, and there's like this weird winter solstice tradition where they choose like the most beautiful person on the island, and so she really wants to be chosen and does anything to make that happen. So that was definitely different. It's not in my favorites, but it's not in the low. Like it was solid, I'll give it that. So there are 4 left. There's 4 left in an hour, and it's 3.5 hours, so an hour and 45 minutes, because I'm listening to it at double speed. So there's an hour and 45 minutes left, and it is 10:40. So I'm probably going to stop there for the night and just finish these last 2 paintings to where I can get the coat on them, and then do the line art in the morning. I'm a little distracted with my speaking because I'm trying to paint this mouth. I should have opened up a different camera. Let's stop and go to that one. I pulled this camera open and wasn't recording. I'm very smart. Definitely time to stop for the night. So looks a little better in this camera. Very cute, very happy. These guys got their clear coat, so they're ready to be lined. it is like 10:40 and I have like an hour and 45 minutes left. So I'm probably gonna call it for the night and just try to get some sleep. Because I have a lot of stuff to do tomorrow. I do have a week left, roughly. I got 6 days left to finish these, and I have 3 left. So we are gonna try and finish them tomorrow, and finish the book tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. I just remembered I had something I wanted to share with you as I can't speak. I ordered some stickers from my favorite Etsy shop that does amazing lock tomb stickers. I'm very excited. This is my 3rd order from her. I ordered this cup from her and I love it. 6th house. Life is too long and love is too short. Or life is too short and love is too long, rather. Hard to see because that, but I also have 9th house. It says we do bones, motherfucker. It's just in the dishwasher. Dishwasher safe. Awesome. Absolutely love those cups. And I've done 2 other sticker orders. Oh my god, I've done 4 orders. This is my 4th order from her. And yeah, I ordered not my Gideon shirt, but I ordered a hat that says Sex Does Hecht 2025 with a pin, and then I've done I think 2 other sticker orders. So I got Live, Laugh, Lobotomy in iridescent. 6 for truth over solace and lies. I had to. These are gonna go on the back of my Kindle. No, Magnus. And then I got some Murderbot minis. Okay, so I have 3 of these that say emotions. And yeah, so I have 2 that are white, or 1 that's white background and 2 that are black background. This one's a little bit smaller on the bottom because it's my free one. I'm so excited. And then I hate having emotions about reality. I'd much rather have them about Sanctuary Moon. So I love that one. Murderbot impersonates a human security unit. I received your request but decided to ignore you. And this little one of the rise and fall of Sanctuary Moon. Come on, focus. There we go. The rise and fall of Sanctuary Moon. Oh my gosh. So cute. Minis. Because you always get minis from the shop. Well, I do because I order multiple stickers. So I have this one, but I'm excited to have it in my new Habanichi because I put these on the months in my Habanichi. So this one says, "Hi, not fucking dead, I'm dad," which is one of my favorites. And then, I got a little Gideon rainbow skull. I love it. And then, yeah, this is the shop on Etsy. So if you need fandom stuff for Gideon or Murderbot, check them out. They've got other ones too. I don't watch Our Flag Means Death, but they have a ton of Our Flag Means Death stuff as well. So definitely check out the shop. I'll send a link in the description if you want to check them out because I absolutely love the shop. Good quality stickers. I have one of the minis of the "No, Magnus" with the skull shouting it with a mohawk on my work laptop. I have these stickers all over. I don't have my planner down here, but I have Double Bones with Dr. Skellabone. And there's a great one that I love that is a introduce yourselves to tag thing, and it says, "Hi, my name is Sex Pal." Yeah. And then of course I have a mini of the Sex Attack 2025, which is one of my favorites. I want a shirt. So yeah, I just wanted to show you my little order and I'm so excited. Okay, so I just finished, let me pull them up, the names of them. The Visitation, I believe. The Visitation by Jeffrey Ford. I didn't like these last 2 at all. They were 2-star ones, I think. So The Visitation by Jeffrey Ford is set on Christmas, and it has this visitor to this house, and he says that he like breathes out his death, so he's able to like live for an extended period of time. And it's like family, like like a couple, and they're like uncomfortable with him being there, and everything kind of spirals out of control from that. And it just meh. It was fine. It wasn't anything special. And then the Lord of Misrule, I really did not like at all. I actually sped this up to 3 so that I could just get through it. And then sat here for like 12 minutes while it played, because I did like a half an hour through it, because it's like an hour. It's like one of the longer ones. And I really did not like it. This woman and her partner find out that her partner actually has a son from his last relationship who's like 5 years old or something like that. And his mom is about to die. So the boy gets sent to go spend Christmas with his dad. And he basically makes him the king of Christmas, essentially. And the boy decides he doesn't like the main character because he's jealous of her. But then she's also just like she's like portrayed as not a very good person because of something she did when she was a kid that she's always been trying to atone for. And it's just one of those like women bad, kids bad, everybody's dark stories. And it was just, I don't know, man. It didn't have any tension. It didn't have anything new. It very much felt like something, like it felt very Where the Wild Things Are inspired. I don't think it was based on the author's note at the end, but it felt very like Where the Wild Things Are, with like a Christmas overtone to it, and also like just a bunch of child murder. So I really didn't like it. I've got 2 left. I really hope they're good. This last story, I haven't got up to make myself lunch yet. I might have to DNF it. This last story is 72 minutes long, which is the longest one of the bunch. And so far, 4 minutes into it, it is a man telling the story of a teenage relationship while an adult woman jacks him off. And he talks about the teenage girl's boobs. What? I skipped forward a bit. And it's when the dude was in his junior year of high school. So he was 16 and was dating a sophomore who was 10 months younger than him. So she was 15. And now we are calling her the Queen of the Kama Sutra at 15. And we're still doing sexy stuff while talking about her and whatever this horror thing is going to be. So we're getting interjected with like stuff. And I cannot do this. I finished it. That last story, oh my god. I skipped through it enough to figure out what it was about, but I could not finish it. The author's note says something about how he was inspired by a couple of different books that just used dialogue, and this does just use dialogue pretty much. But he also said that he didn't feel, basically he said he didn't feel like there was enough erotic Christmas stories, which means he has no idea what KU does. I have seen so many like adverts for erotic Christmas stories. But so he felt like they skimp on it. He said Christmas stories tend to skimp on sexual stuff, especially the erotic, because he believes it's because of the focus on the virgin birth. And he had an idea and was just looking for the right place for it. My problem is not that it was erotic. My problem was that it was two people in their 40s who were discussing a sexual encounter that this man had with a teenager when he was a teenager, and getting off on it. No, there are other ways you could have done that than to use what you did. So honestly, no, I'm not upset that I did not read the whole thing. I listened to some parts in the middle. Overall, I probably listened to 15-20 minutes of the 72-minute story in totality, because I couldn't do it. I could not handle it. Yeah, not the way that it was being used. Anyway, so overall, the other story, No Light, No Light. Okay, so both of these took place on solstice. No Light, No Light by Gemma. I should pull up the list. It's fine. It was set in Iceland and inspired by climate change and Ragnarok. And it was a Killian, I guess. It took me a little bit to figure it out that it was because of the way it was written. It took me a minute to figure it out. But I didn't really enjoy it. It was fine. Essentially a person who's been a liar all of his life finds like absolution in Loki, another Loki obsession. She even says in her author's note, she's like, I was inspired by Ragnarok and Loki, always Loki. And I'm like, okay, so you're a Hiddleston girly probably. No, she blamed like a actual like book on Norse gods, but it just, again, it was fine. So I haven't made any more progress on the art project. That's fine. That's also fine, because I have a few more days to do it, but I want to get this video up. Getting loud ass cars, man. So that is my overall take, I will tell you, on Christmas and Other Horrors. Is it's a 3.5. It's fine. The best ones, I think, personally in here are the Stephen Graham Jones and the Cassandra Khaw. Everything else was fine. Oh, no, sorry. Let me go look at the list. Hi, puppy dog. Look at this cute boy. Look at him. He just woke up from a nap. Silly grin. Okay, Christmas and Other Horrors. So my favorites were the Stephen Graham Jones and the Cassandra Khaw, but also good ones were The Blessing of the Waters had a good Eldritch Horror vibe to it. That was Nick Mamatas. Dry and Ready was fine for the first half. The second half just it needed something, but I think it's still worth it. And that was by Glenn Hirschberg. And the Tananarive Dew Return to Bear Creek Lodge was also really good. And where is it? The Almakatsu, His Castle. So overall, I'd probably give it a 3.75. Those particular stories, His Castle, The Blessing of the Waters, let's see. Okay. So His Castle by Almakatsu is probably a 4.5. The Blessing of the Waters is probably a 4. Dry and Ready is a 3.75. It's almost a 4. Just the end just wasn't there. Return to Bear Creek Lodge is probably a 4.5. Our Recent Unpleasantness is a 4. That's the Stephen Graham Jones. And Cold by Cassandra Khaw is also like a 4.5. So those are my favorites of the collection. The Grave of Small Birds was fine. So that was probably like 3.5. Overall, I think it's sitting at like 3.5. It's like 3.5, which tends to be around what I set most short story collections over and all. But I tend to try to view them independently. So let me know if you've read this. If you're interested in it, I would look at specific stories and go from there. I wouldn't do the whole thing necessarily unless you feel like you absolutely have to. So this is my wait, what's today? Today Thursday? It's my 4th video of the week. I'm gonna see if I can keep going for a week. It's my 4th video of the week, and I've got a few more ideas, so I'll hopefully see you tomorrow with something else.